slow, time moves fast. In this dance we call the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread, life's a climb. Just take a step, rise above, find your breath. In the darkness we will find a shining light to free our mind, to free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds and the chaos. Let's find peace, embrace the pain, let it release.
Relax your mind. It's divine time.
What's good? What's good? Welcome to Divine Time Podcast, a space where we explore the depths of spiritual growth, life's most profound lessons, and the true purpose of love. I'm your host, Dally Divine, and I invite you to join me on a journey of introspection and discovery. Together, let's explore the beauty of spiritual growth, the wisdom hidden in life's challenges, and the transformative power of love. Relax your mind. It's Divine Time. I'm going to go ahead and have you hit up your intro next, Rio.
Yo, what up? It's Rio. Y'all already know. Just come here to spread love and knowledge.
Respect. Mr. Nice Guy.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mr. Nice Guy, a.k.a. Mr. Leon Conley. It's always good to be around like-minded individuals to learn and grow.
Respect. All right, boom. With it, I'm like, let's go ahead and jump straight into it because I always usually end up starting off with the questions, but I'm like, all three of us, and then we can just flow straight into a conversation. First of all, I want to ask y'all, what does wife material mean to you? Notice I said to you.
Okay. I guess I'll go first.
Right.
Personally, in my experience, I believe that when it comes to finding a partner or a mate, or in this situation, a wife, I would say someone that accepts you for who you are as a whole and not as what you represent on paper. I think more times than not, we embrace the perception instead of the person as a whole. That's all I got.
Okay. I like that.
Okay. I like that.
Let me hear from you, Rio.
So wife material for me pretty much is like what he said. You're gonna always want somebody that accepts you for who you are. And not only that, you want somebody who's gonna accept you for right now, for your past, your future, everything, because not everybody stays the same throughout their whole life. So you're gonna have growth, you're gonna have, moods, and you're gonna have phases in life to where you just become some other whole other person. So when you think about marriage, you got to think about, damn, do I like this person enough to understand, like, years down the line when they start to change? Am I gonna still want to relearn this person? Because we do change as people. So, you got to be real invested in this person to be, 20, 30 years down the line, and this person completely changes because they're going through, biological change. And now they don't like the same things that they used to like now. So now it's like you got to learn this whole new person. And that's on both ends of the spectrum. No matter if you're looking for a female wife or a male wife, because men go through what we call a midlife crisis. And we go to tripping. So, like, no matter what spectrum you on, if you're looking for someone to be your wife, like, that's somebody you got to really look at and be like, yo, am I really going to want to stick it out with this person, even though they did a complete 180 on me, and now I don't know who this person is. I got to relearn this person that I'm laying with. And I think a lot of people don't really think about that.
You're right. A lot of people really don't think about that. When it comes down to a relationship, I was talking to somebody the other day, I think it was yesterday, and we were having this discussion. It was a female, And she brought up that communication is a big part. And I agree completely with that, because when it comes down to you trying to actually get into a relationship with somebody, first of all, let me say what's good. How you doing, Queenie? She jumped in on TikTok and said hi. So hey girl, hey. So she listening. I know she can provide some feedback. When it comes down to people jumping into relationships, they don't discuss the things beforehand of what they're looking for. They don't discuss those boundaries. They don't discuss what the long term looks like. A lot of individuals, they get into relationships, they don't even talk about their finances. What is your debt? Things along those lines. What they expect from a partner. Because a lot of people are in relationships and don't even have a partner.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I had
100%.
I told my wife, I was like, you know, you're like the first partner I've had. Because before, like my previous marriage, I felt like I was raising a grown child. She didn't know how to cook. She didn't know how to clean. Her idea of cleaning was spraying something with Windex and wiping it down. I mean, now granted, she wasn't a bad person, but there was just a lot of things that I had to pretty much teach her. And I was just like, I shouldn't have to be raising an adult, you know? So that was kind of disheartening. I've been in other relationships where it was like they really didn't do anything because they felt that a man was with me. I'm a provider and I've always been independent. I know how to do everything myself. I've always had my own. So with that, it's like I've always operated that way. And I mean, I needed to be with another person who was independent, who did not rely on me for everything. I'm like, okay, cool. If I ain't got it, you got it. Or, yo, blessings, blessings, blessings. But I appreciate the gifts, but I really don't want them. I tell you that all the time, Jessica. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, you need that new camera.
I need the new camera. Why?
There go your new camera right there.
You're right.
There go your new camera.
I just feel like I'm hustling when that happens. But
I know, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Keep elaborating on what you were saying, Ali, because you were cooking on something, and I was writing some notes about it. You were talking about being independent. I'm not sure where you're going with that, but were you talking about how you want your partner to be independent too?
Yeah, so with it, I feel like, okay, cool. If y'all both can handle it on your own, when you come together, it's the same thing I say now. I'm like, I want someone who's able to add to my piece, not take away from it. So therefore, when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, cool. I know that I can wash the dishes. Can I rely on you to wash the dishes, or do I have to teach you how to wash the dishes? Like, I want to have it to where it's like, when we come into this agreement, we can grow together. I don't have to try and get you up to my point. And then so now I'm halting my growth, trying to get you to catch up to me, so that way we can grow together, you know? So I'm like, if we both are independent on our own, when we come together, we are adding value to one another's lives. What's up, Mr. Sigma Uno? How you doing, big boss?
What's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry, my energy too up there. All right, let me tone it down. How you doing, sir?
No,
Hey, we just came back from barbecue. It was the community back, like how it was back on the West Coast. It was dope. It was yeah, I wish you could have came. I mean, it's still going on right now, but I've got prior things to do. So with it, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'm happy. I'm full. I passed my time that I'm supposed to eat. But it was delicious. It was worth. I learned what hash was today.
Hi, Daddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, you had some hash?
Yeah. I had no idea what that was. And I tasted it. I was like, oh, it kind of tastes like it tasted like pulled pork with like mustard, almost like a mustard barbecue sauce. It was interesting. It was good. I ain't gonna lie, it was good. I hope it wasn't pork, because I'm probably about to blow my brains out later.
Oh, you probably is.
But anyway, going back onto it. So, Mr. Sigma Uno, I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everybody else. What is wife material mean to you? Notice I said to you.
There are.
I know what you're gonna say and what you're thinking. I mean, it can mean something different to everybody. Okay, I understand that, and you want to be big, but I'm asking to you.
So for me, it's specifically someone that actually knows themselves and loves themselves, and has enough inside of themselves. She has enough inside of herself to love herself enough that when she meets someone that isn't who she's supposed to be with, she's not completely dragged to the earth. What I mean by that is, when people go through things traumatically, say divorce, breakups, and all the rest of that stuff, sometimes they enter back into relationships too quickly. because they can't be without the love that they believe that they have. So there's a period of time that needs to be taken for them to come to a place where they're back to loving themselves enough to where they weren't completely phased by the walk away. Otherwise, the next relationship they enter into is going to be is is going to be a problem because they haven't given themselves enough time to bounce back and to strengthen up. So that's my immediate answer.
Okay. So with that, we're flowing in back into the conversation. What I had said previously was, to me, wife material is someone who also is independent, where we both can do these things on our own, but us coming together puts us in a place to where we are able to elevate and grow to higher levels. Because now it's like we're not sitting here like, okay, I have to teach you how to do these things. You need to teach me how to do these things. I mean, granted, there's going to be some things, but it's not like you're raising a grown ass child. So it's like, for me, I would bet, like with me and my wife, I vetted her. She hated it too. I put her through a lot of crap because I wanted to know how she was when she cried, how she was when she was happy, what makes her happy, what makes her sad, what makes her mad. Because I wanted to.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You wanted to see what she liked if she was mad. Like you provoked her?
Because I came from a relationship previously to where I pretty much was learning who I was with when I was with them, as we were already married.
Queen named John me yelled, "That's terrible." Testing.
Sure.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't so much, but what I had went through, and I mean, looking back on it, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. But when you are already married and you find out you married a masquerade, a chameleon, someone who was putting on an act, and they were not truly who they were. So therefore, I wanted to know, because you look stupid when something happens and you're like, okay, this is how she would respond, and then that's not how she responds, and people are telling you behind your back things that are going on or things that have happened. You're like, that don't sound like my partner, because you don't find out, you don't even know who your partner is, because you have not been through the trenches and things with her. So I mean, when she was going through certain things, I was there. I was observing her while at the same time trying to comfort her. There was times where it's like, now granted, we weren't really even truly together at this time, because I mean, for the first 2 years, everybody's like, oh, y'all finally together. Before I could say anything, she's like, no, we just fucking. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm to you. Then I'll play my part. If I'm slanging meat, then I'm slanging meat. It is what it is. So with that, I had already told her, I was like, I like you. I want to try and take things further. And she was just like, okay. And I was like, ooh, okay, bet. So I was like, if you're going to do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. But eventually she told me that she had feelings for me as well. And I was just like, all right, cool. I was like, well, let's see how this goes. But I mean, we were always up under each other all the time already before that. And I was observing how she was moving around different people and all that stuff. And she was always consistent.
You're talking about the ex or your current wife?
My current.
Okay. So this is the vetting. Okay. Go on.
So I started that process based off of how it was on previous relationships. I realized that I was not vetting properly. It almost felt like I was rushing, even though I was taking my time. So I made sure that I took that extra time to really get to know the person, to see what upsets them, when they're upset, what I can do to comfort them. Because it's a horrible feeling when you have a partner that's feeling a type of way and you don't know you don't know what you can do to help them in a situation, because you don't really truly know them. And it's
if they even want to accept it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of, she had trauma that she had to grow through. I had trauma that I had to grow through. And that was part of the reason why, Queenie, I was vetting the way that I was, because I didn't want to feel
But you're not going into detail. What is the vetting process look like? Because again, it was sounded like when you were saying I had to see her when she cried. Were you provoking her? I mean, you didn't answer that.
I don't want to put her information out, but she had a situation that happened that brought her to tears. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was there with her, listening to how she talked about it, where she didn't really want to open up. And I was like, what can I do for you? So therefore, doing that, and as that was happening, I was observing, like, okay, cool. Is she a highly emotional individual when it comes to a situation like this? Like, does she completely shut down? Does she get like manic? Like things like that, to understand.
You were observing and collecting data. Okay, yeah. That's different. Let me cut you off. I'm so sorry.
There was a time, because with me, I never saw her mad. So there was times where it's like I would deliberately do things, not big things for like you should kill me. Hold on, listen.
I'm listening. I'm
It
listening.
sounds bad. It
I'm
sounds
listening.
bad. It sounds bad. And I'm not gonna lie, it was bad. But I had deliberately did some things to try and like I wanted to see like, okay, when she gets mad, what does she do? Because I don't want to sit here and it's like one day she ends up hearing a lie about me or something. She gets pissed off, and next thing you know, I'm out of a vehicle because she want to crash it or destroy it. And then later on, be like, oh dang, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. Like I wanted to know, because you don't want to mess around and be in a relationship. I know a lot of individuals who are in relationships right now, and a situation happens, and now they're in a domestic violence thing that should not even have been domestic violence, and they're getting accused of doing something when their partner did it to them. You know? So I mean, to really see, understand, and know what I'm getting myself into. Is this something I really want to deal with? Because if the first time for me, I'm like, the first time you ever see your partner upset is when y'all are in a relationship, and next thing you know, you're a felon for shit that had nothing to do with you, because this person had a freaking crazy ass bipolar attack or something along the lines, and you're just like, yo, what the hell? You're in the household and people hearing screaming outside, and cops get called, and she's over here saying he hit me and da or whatever. Like, I don't. This is just a scenario that's popping in my head. I don't know if that actually happened to somebody. If it did, I'm sorry for the possible trigger warning. But yes. So I mean, really understanding like what are your mannerisms based off of your emotional state.
Okay. So in response to that, let me just say this. First of all, to answer your question, to answer your question, as a PI that's worked in the Innocence Project, those scenarios absolutely do happen.
I know.
Males to females, females to males, LGBT relationship, it does happen. Okay, false accusations happen a lot. I don't think I'm totally against or opposed to your vetting process per se, based on the things that you've had to deal with and go through and stuff like that. I guess my only question is, after it was all said and done, when did you start to feel really comfortable with that person from what you've observed? And when did you start kind of, I guess, easing up on that?
For me, once I saw how she was when she was happy, when she was comfortable enough to be vulnerable with me and me with her, which I think I was vulnerable with her first. And then when that happened, it was almost as if that's when the partnership happened, and everything. That's when she showed me that anything that I would do for her, she would do for me, and vice versa. And we have been through a lot of battles, trials, and tribulations, and throughout all of those, it's been consistent. I knew how she would. I knew how she would respond or react in certain situations. There was one that I did not take into effect, but that was a trauma that she didn't really even know that she did not heal from yet. So I mean, neither one of us would have known unless she was put in a situation like that, and that's not something that I'm capable of doing. So I never would have known about that situation, but I do now. So how did we get comfortable? How did I get comfortable to know, like, okay, I don't need to vet anymore?
Yeah.
I have to say, when we allowed ourselves to become vulnerable with one another, that showed that we had true, complete trust in the other person.
But what? Okay, no, I believe that. But what was it that made you feel comfortable being vulnerable? What was the moment that you knew?
The fact that leaving her alone with other women she didn't know knew me, and they come back and tell me nothing but good things about things that she was saying about me. Because you can learn a lot about a person when you leave them alone. There's a lot of women who will sit there and act one way in your face, and then the thing that's crazy about alcohol, that's like a truth serum. So a lot of things come out, and with that, that was confirmation for me that, all right, cool, I can trust this woman. That was my biggest thing. My biggest thing is the trust issues. And therefore, once I realized, now this won't be for everybody, because everybody has not gone through the things that I have gone through. So for me, once I felt I could trust her, that's when I knew, okay, cool, we are good, because I've seen how you would act. I've seen how you can have my back, and you know how I can have yours. Now it's just a matter of how are you going to act when you're by yourself and you influence. Like, okay, cool. Are you still going to be riding for me, or are you going to see something that's possibly better, or fall into temptation and go for it? You know.
So I got a question, and I guess this is for the group as well. If you want to propose it, I don't want to, overstep my bounds. But for everybody else, because I don't mind sharing either, when does everyone feel comfortable in a relationship to trust and be vulnerable with somebody? When do they feel it?
But
Let's
for
all
me,
not go at
it's
once. Yeah, go
for me, it's I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I can't go in thinking that somebody's going to be away because someone else did the same thing. So yeah, it may be a setup initially to possibly go to the same thing, but after you've gone through it more than once, you can kind of see it coming before it happens. So I give everybody the benefit of the doubt initially, and not to the point to where I leave myself out and open. And if I do, then I know exactly what I'm doing when I do that. When I find out that it's not something I want to deal with, I tend to back out pretty quickly and say, "Hey, I'm good. This is what I see. We can be friends in some cases, but nah." I think I've built myself up to be able to say that. In other cases, when I was younger or not really knowledgeable about all this, I um, I would kind of back up and see and wait and give an opportunity and wait and wait. And there's situations that I waited too long, which was years. And then later on, I couldn't say anything because I put myself in the situation and I saw it,
ahead.
but I didn't do anything about it. You
Too much
know,
time had passed.
exactly. So when I did finally pull out of there, I understood what the person was going through, but at the same time, I said, "Look, this is what I'm willing to put up with. The physical is just not something I put up with. I got to move on." And I did. Um, but otherwise, I give everybody benefit of the doubt.
Okay. All right. My man, I forgot the other guy's name. What about you, my man?
Me personally,
Rio,
Sure.
what's going on, bro?
what happened to sick one up? I
Let's get
gotta
it.
personally, I gotta see how you treat the people that you love versus the people you tolerate.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like once I see that, I can pretty much gauge on how vulnerable I can be with you, or if I can be vulnerable at all with you. Like I've noticed that, and even guys do it sometimes with their friend groups or their peers. You can tell when a person fucks with you and when a person really don't because, like how Divine said, all you got to do is leave them alone with some people, give them some liquor. They're gonna start talking, and especially with a whole bunch of women, they're gonna start talking. So all you gotta do is see how they treat other people. Like people they tolerate, they gonna talk mad shit about them, but when they around them, they're gonna act a completely different way. So you can pretty much gauge it. Hey, is this person treating me this way? Is this person only tolerating me, or if she really fuck with
And that's what I mean by the chameleons.
me? Yeah.
Mm.
So all you
I
gotta
like
do
all
is
that.
pay attention. And most people they reveal themselves. You ain't really got to put nobody through no test or anything because life throws tests at you, period. Especially when you're trying to be in a relationship with somebody, it's gonna
Mhm.
test you like a motherfucker because that's two different people trying to conjoin as one. So y'all gonna butt heads a lot. So you gonna get to see how
Right.
she react when she's
Yo, thank
angry.
you
Is
for the
she
light.
gonna go tell the whole world? Like it's a lot. So
I like that, Rio. I
it
like that.
it's just I let time pass. Time lets me know how open I can be with a person because if you really trying to be with a
Mhm.
person, you
How you
paying
doing?
attention, you looking for these cues. It's just the only thing is people see one red flag and be ready to run. Nah, you don't run from the red
Yeah,
flag. You talk about the red flag. Like, yo, hey, what's going on? That person might not even know that they, threw up
exactly.
a red flag for you.
Okay.
So I feel like too many people be ready to haul ass nowadays. Like, nah, just because that person did something that you disagree with, don't mean y'all non-compatible. It's just something that y'all need to be done talked about if y'all really, want to go to the
Communication.
next level. Like, it's communication, it's emotional intelligence, and everything. Like, a lot of people claim that they're healed. If you're healed, you won't have trigger warnings.
Exactly. Or if you do have trigger warnings, you're able to manage those traumas in a healthy way that doesn't
Hmm.
project and spill on to others.
Yep, you're right.
That's another thing too. So let me answer the question. So I'm the last one here. And I think I'm going to be a little different than all y'all. So please be patient with me, okay? And please don't judge me too harshly. All right.
No problem, sis.
Nah,
For
no
me,
judgment.
for me, it's safe to say I'm a lover. I believe that every experience that I've had with someone that I've chosen to be a partner has benefited me in one way, shape, or form in learning more about myself as well as people. Um, I can safely say at all my relationships, I've all learned something. However, the thing that I think for me, that when do I start feeling comfortable is when I notice that this person isn't triggering or is pushing any of my boundaries. You see, more times than not, people get captivated on the type of person I represent, you know what I'm saying, depending on how they found me. Divine knows this. If I'm in my bouncer persona versus my blurred persona versus, my intellectual persona, it depends on how you receive me. And then from there, kind of pushing the boundaries or not trying to push the boundaries of not only my intelligence, but also my own personal character. You know what I'm saying? So what does that look like? I consider myself to be a very multifaceted person. So if I am someone that I'll give you an example. Let's see if I believe in, I like the color red. I think red's a beautiful color. It describes passion, it drives this, it drives that, and this other. And then your initial reaction is red. You like red? I don't know about that, this and that. Or it almost, the things that I love and enjoy become like triggers of judgment for them. That's when I started to be like, nah, wait a minute. If we can't have if we can't have a logical disagreement without judgment or resentment about something that we might be agree with, then I don't see us having an understanding for any type of growth or even appreciation for our differences. You see what I'm saying? So I try to maintain my boundaries towards certain levels of negativity that might erode the possibility of a relationship we could possibly have. Now, I don't want to get that confused with not being able to see eye to eye on things because more times than not, if I'm not seeing eye to eye with someone, it's either because someone has a perspective based on a harsh experience or something traumatic, which we could obviously work through. But like y'all were, perfectly mentioned before, if y'all don't want to have the conversation or open up or allow yourselves to be vulnerable in expressing those things with me, then that also is a boundary too, because I can't give you something I'm not receiving. And I think those false expectations are found a lot in toxic relationships that are allowed to continue. Like Sigma Uno was
No, no.
mentioning. I'm like Sigma Uma. I'm sorry. When you give the benefit of the doubt, but also not maintain a certain level of gullibility, that it's allowed to persist long after to the point where it's time to address it. The time is lost. You know what I'm saying? Does that all make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So
yeah, that
long
makes
story
sense,
short,
bro.
short story long. I guess I observe the boundaries and where what I can tolerate and what I can't because I know my threshold when it comes to people. You know, if that answers it.
Nah, that's a good way. That's a real good
Yeah.
way. Like, if a person don't push your boundaries, that's definitely one that really needs to be checked off. Because some people will try you.
Yeah,
That
And
part.
I would say that's good advice for male and female. So, because males be
absolutely.
trying women too, and women just let that shit
Hmm.
slide sometimes.
Yep.
I mean,
So
women
I
have a
feel
lot of ways
like,
to test men also. So I mean, when
Yeah,
it comes down to
but
it, like how he said that's terrible, testing people is childish.
yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of childish people.
It is. It is. No, I
There's a
think it
lot
is.
of
No, I agree with that. I think testing people is kind of childish. But
yeah.
again, I understand and appreciate why you do it, Lee, based on what you were saying, based on your trauma, the things
Yeah.
that you go about doing it. It's just not the way I do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I understand.
I mean, I don't do that anymore. Like for example, if I had to vet somebody, it wouldn't be like that. Now, again, I had just came out of a marriage and a relationship after that to where the people were not who I thought they were.
Sure.
So I mean, with it, it was just like I'm not going to get caught slipping again. I'm not doing this again. Like I want to know who the hell I'm with. You know?
Well, hold on. And I'm glad you said that because I wrote a note and I want to get back to it. It's something that you had said before about, being able to, because it's something I believe too, being able to find someone you can grow with, but not being able to, I'm paraphrasing, train. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have to train them to get on your level so y'all can grow together. And my only pushback on that is certain people's upbringings are different and they have different worldviews. Like me and my wife, we have cultural clashes all the time. However, I wouldn't want to confuse that for her not being on my level. It's just her upbringing is different. And I think, and here's where me and you, I think will agree, is when it comes to wanting to grow with somebody, it has to be something that you see in that person that is not only potential, but it's something that you want to learn more from to where y'all both can appreciate each other and where y'all at as y'all grow and develop these new type of traits, skills, or whatever they might be. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I hear what you're saying. But let me ask this question.
I want to real quick just read what Sharice said. She's like, don't let it slide. That's ball/strike one.
Yeah, that's some mentality. So my question is, Go ahead.
Oh,
no, please.
I want to play devil.
Who's going ahead?
Rio, go ahead, Rio.
All right, I wanted to play devil's advocate for a little bit because I don't think testing people is childish.
Okay, please. I want to hear your argument.
For real.
Behind that. Why do you feel that testing people is not childish?
All right. In everything else in life, don't you get tested on? If you want to get a promotion, don't they test you to see if you good enough to get that promotion? When you in school, don't they test you to see if you good enough to go to the next grade?
Hold up, I got a rebuttal for this. But
like, why is it so childish to test somebody to see if they're a good, y'all compatible with one another?
Exactly.
Like, what's so childish about that?
May I ask that question? I can answer that question. Because more times than not, tests are graded on a scale based on expectations. If I test somebody in math, does that mean they're going to pass English? If I test somebody in what it means to be a wife for me, are they going to fail or pass for the next person that might have less or more expectations? Again, tests are usually based upon expectations, and that depends on the person. So some people would say a woman's best place is in the kitchen, barefoot, cooking and stuff like that. Some people, and that would be a test to see if they can do that. But whose expectation is that?
That's yours. But would that not mean y'all are not compatible?
Say that again?
Would that not mean y'all are not compatible?
Of course. If I'm testing them
if
on
this
that,
is something that you
wait, hold on, wait. If I'm testing them, and that's my expectation, then no, they're not compatible. But is that a fair expectation for someone that wants to?
How is that not?
It depends on the person. Would not be a fair expectation.
It should. If we are grown adults, you should know how to cook. I know how to cook myself. If we are grown adults, I'm not saying. Hold on. I'm not saying be grandma them in the kitchen or nothing like that.
Yep.
But basic meals to sustain us as a family, you should be able to cook because I can do the same.
Okay.
I want to throw in what Cherie said real quick. She said testing is not childish. The manner of testing can be childish.
Agree.
Sure.
That goes into right now.
Agree.
Sure. I can meet halfway on that.
Agree.
So coming back to what you were saying though. You were saying something. We were interrupted, Reno. Someone was saying something. Rio, I want to
Okay.
hear what you were saying. You were talking about they should be able to cook. And I guess again that becomes that also comes back to the expectation of is
I
the
would
food
just say
they're
having
cooking good?
expectations leads to disappointment.
Like,
Yes.
yeah,
So let's say they can cook, but if they can't cook well, or everything they come out is burnt or poisonous.
oh, we can work on that.
Okay.
We can work on that.
So now, hold on, wait.
We can work on that.
Rio. So based on that level of you meet me halfway, you can say there's room for improvement. So now you're grading on a scale then.
Yeah, I have scales.
Wait, hear me out. I'm cooking now. So if we're grading on a scale, then what's the point of the test anyway?
What's the point of the test?
What's the point of the test if we're
To
going to grade
see
on
if
a
we
scale
compatible. If I'm looking for a woman that can cook and you just can't cook, then that means you didn't you didn't test high enough on this scale.
But you're saying they can't cook just because do they not want to cook? Do they not know how to cook?
It's all of those. If you definitely don't want to cook, then hey, I definitely can't be with you.
Okay. I'm trying to see where the expectation is for the test.
No, it don't matter the reason. Like I can understand if you can't cook and you just don't want to cook, because I can cook and I just don't be wanting to cook. So I can understand that. Like we can work out a deal with that. So the reason it don't really matter until it's like, oh, I just don't want to cook. Be audacity. I like home cooked meals.
Because I've met women, I've dated women to where they can cook, but I prefer to cook. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Sigmund, I'm going to go ahead and roll on over because I know he's got something he wants to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll put a pause on that.
Thank you,
Rio.
No,
I appreciate you.
I'm listening, and the majority of what's being said is coffee talk. This is all beginning. If you don't ask the question in the beginning, and you're not, then you don't have the answer. If you wait to find out later on, then something that you could have asked, then that's you waiting. That's you waiting. But this is all coffee talk. This is all what's your favorite color? What movies do you like?
Yes.
Do you like Netflix and chill? All these are questions in the beginning while you're sitting at the coffee shop.
You should find out before y'all even get in a relationship.
The courting phase.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
you don't want to mess around, be in a relationship and starting to find out who the person is. You should find that out before y'all get in a relationship. There's a lot of people trying to find out if they like a person once they're in a relationship with the person. I'm not trying to do all that. That's why I'm like, I want to know who you are, how you act, and everything before we get in a relationship. That's why I had those tests, that vetting process, because I don't want to be in a relationship.
But I agree with Sigma Uno. That should be all in the beginning.
Yes,
that should be before you even get in the relationship. I'm with Sigma on that.
That's the reason why I had put my wife through those things before we were in a relationship.
Here's the thing.
You can tell me she didn't want to deal with that, and so did
you can tell me whatever. Mm-hmm. You can tell me whatever.
But when it's time to cook,
you can say you can cook. You can say you can cook.
The truth will eventually come out.
For real, because nobody really tell you the truth.
Yep.
Well.
I mean, but then you have to look at this. It depends on how the person was raised. You're gonna meet grandma, auntie. You're gonna meet uncle. You're gonna meet somebody that's gonna let you know whether she believes she can cook or not, and she can actually cook. That's two different things.
You're right.
But you're still in the courtship. You're still in the phase of courtship.
You're right.
We got people in the chat. I want to hear them say some things. There we go. I want to hear y'all response on this. Well, this is an interactive podcast. Let's all cooperate. All learn some responses. All right.
Let's hear it.
Sharice says, "I got you some spaghetti." Oh my God, really?
Why spaghetti? Why gotta be spaghetti? Why I gotta be spaghetti?
You got to start screening these calls, man. For real, screen them.
I need to.
Jeez, we sitting here cooking, having intellectual. I'm liking what Sigma's saying. I'm appreciate what Rio's saying. Then we talking about spaghetti.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, next you're gonna say she knows how to cook some pies.
I know.
Marie Callender's,
Yo, Sharice and Chef Boyardee. Oh, all right. Let's continue.
Coming back to what you're saying, Rio, you're right. people can tell you whatever you want, but then we start to spiral into that that realm of paranoia, because if we can't trust what you're saying, or we just don't have the benefit of the doubt,
Just
then
don't go
nobody is
for it
passing
at
any
all.
type of test or criteria that we have if we're holding on to that previous
Hey.
trauma. Now, I appreciate what Sigma's saying, because not only is all this stuff that you say betting in the beginning of courtship, but what's that old saying? And Sigma, you're probably going to know it. I'm not saying because you're old, because you probably know these sayings. But if it doesn't come out, in the wash, it'll come out in the dry.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to reveal itself. And then we have to start really having conversations on. And if you're open to it, then you have to start asking conversations like, well, baby, why didn't you just tell me you couldn't cook? And more times than not, I was insecure because my mom always told me a man is not going to be with a woman who knows how to cook. You were fine. I felt like I was on your level. I was insecure. And if the roles are reversed, we'd want that same level of acceptance or understanding.
Exactly.
So I have to be able to extend that. However, to support the opposite side of this coin, don't support the opposite side of this coin. If I give you the opportunity to be utmost and honest with me, and to be vulnerable with me, and you don't take it, and you double down on the distrust, well, now we're back to crossing that boundary.
Oh, nah, man.
Now,
like,
and it shows themselves.
Right, man.
Right.
So that's all I'm going to say about that.
But then again, I asked follow-up questions. So if I ask you if you can cook, and you say yes, I can, what's your favorite dish? What do you cook the best?
Yes.
And then if it's spaghetti, if it's spaghetti, then I'm like, okay, pretty much anybody can boil some noodles and stir fry some meat.
Now wait, I done seen some people do some things with spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, facts.
But still, at the same time, it's like, what is your depth? What is your depth in cooking? So when I say cooking, again, I come from a family of women, and they can burn literally chicken, whatever you can think of, Italian, whatever you think of, they can cook. They go into depth with it. So that's the next step is, hey, why don't you come over to my house? We can cook whatever. We can cook together. We can talk about some stuff, and we can hang out.
This chicken
so this is early on. There you go. What should I get? What do I need to get from? What do I need to get from the store so you can cook your spaghetti?
Rio,
again,
real quick, Rio. I'm going to let you talk, Rio. I just want to say this
because he's been wanting to say something.
Yes, he has. Go ahead.
Ain't that a test?
That's a test.
Ain't that a test? At the end of the day, ain't that a test?
That's courtship. But that's what it's called. It's called courtship.
It's courtship, though. Exactly. Courtship is literally you testing this person to see if y'all are compatible.
Wait, hold up. No, I'm gonna push back, Rio. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I don't consider that a test in the same concept or aspect that y'all are saying a test is, because if this part, hear me out.
Yeah, that test is. I want to see if she really can cook.
Hear me out. And Sigma, I'm trying to help you out here because maybe I'm seeing it differently. Okay, because here's the thing. Okay, like I said, I'm using my own term. A test are based on expectations. All right? If I'm telling you, if I'm asking, hey, if you say you can cook some spaghetti, then I'm like, okay, why don't you come over here and cook some spaghetti? Okay, let me see how it is. Now, if this person can't cook the spaghetti like I'm used to or something like that, the expectation is, oh, now you're just cut out. I'm not dating you no more.
That's it.
Okay?
That would be you being biased, though.
There's low risk and low reward.
That would be you being biased.
Reward here. Huh?
That would be you being biased, though. Oh, she can't cook to my standards. Now, I can understand if something is mildly good or if something is just flat out nasty.
No. Based on what you were saying earlier, when it comes to test, okay? And what Sigma's saying and what I'm agreeing with is that if this person doesn't pass the test, then it's kind of like, I don't think I can be comfortable. I can't be this. I can't be that with you. Where me and Sigma are saying is, if this person doesn't, I'm gonna use the term test, doesn't pass the test of not being able to cook, and they're just and they think they can cook. This is something we can grow on. This isn't a disqualifying factor.
No.
That's a huge difference.
So let me
No.
ask this question real quick. When you say something like that, are you talking about like when William Hung went on American Idols and because his family said he could sing?
What are you talking
Say
about?
that
I'm like, so for example, you know how you just said like this person said that they can
I
cook
know
and
exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, they said they can cook.
Yeah.
And you bring them over and be like, okay, you said you can cook.
She can't cook at all.
Okay.
Not cook at all, but their head has been boosted up from people who do not want to tell them the truth.
Oh,
There you
just
go.
talk to them. Okay,
It's the same.
Hold on, I'm with Sigma. Now it's an opportunity to have a
It's the
truthful conversation.
same.
Like, look, baby,
Well, we got
I don't know who
another
told you,
question
but
in the comments. They said
I'm answering another question. It's the same. It's the same.
You're saying dating and courting?
Dating is just a new term. Yeah, dating is just a new term. People just don't do it right.
hold on.
Yeah,
I'm trying to read
back
this.
then,
What does that look like for men?
People don't do it right. It's the same.
On that one.
It's not the same. No, it's not. No, it's not. In this modern day and age, no, it's
Back in the days they did not court. I mean, they did not date. They courted and then they entered a marriage.
And the
Okay,
involvement
talk.
of family
You're going way back.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're
then
right.
it transitioned into dating. That's why you don't hear people talk about courting anymore. It's practically the same thing. You're seeing if you're compatible for marriage.
Yes,
We just
that
do
was back
it
in the
wrong.
day. We
just do it wrong now.
No, you're right. When I talk about, I guess, well, maybe I'll find a different term for it. But when I use the term courting, I'm assuming when Sigma used the term courting, it's actually the process of getting to know somebody. More times than not, when people say they're dating someone or dating other people, due to the
terminology,
I'm going to say the totality of judgment based on a lot of false expectation that people have and perception stuff like that. Some people consider dating just casually fucking, which again is your business. Okay,
and that's why I say they're doing it wrong.
100%, 100%.
They're doing it wrong. When you're dating somebody, you're supposed to be getting to know that person.
Yes,
dating is
100%.
supposed to be the new age of courtship. You're supposed to get to know that person. You're supposed to meet this person's family.
Yes.
You're supposed to do all of these things, but people have brought dating down to the caliber of a fucking booty call nowadays.
Oh, 100%. But what I was saying, I agree with all that, what you're saying. Hold on. I want to say it's real. I want to respond to real quick. But what I disagreed with is the fact modern day courting leading to marriage is something that I know I don't practice. Because I don't know, in order for me to marry someone, that's a whole different. Okay,
but what is the difference? What is the difference, though?
I want to ask this question.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Kind of like,
I'll put a pause on that. Real. I'll come back to that later.
What I was about to ask is similar to what I was going to ask. Sure. What are the different stages of a relationship?
That's a good one.
Boom.
And that's a good question because when you're talking about courtship, it's multi-layered as well. Courtship is multi-layered. First thing to do is not necessarily approach the young lady from a male's perspective. You approach the parent or the person that has raised her and ask the question, "Hey, is it okay?" Yeah, and that's changed because the time has changed. And then if you've already been married, then you go about dating a different way, or some like to keep it traditional. But that's level one. Level two is you're sitting on the porch, you're having the conversation. Level three is you want to go out and get something to eat. Again, things have changed because the times have changed. Level four is you move from the outside of the porch into the inside on the couch. That's how courtship used to be. Then there was never a version where you were ever really alone, because the family was there making observation. Families are making sure nothing went wrong, or the young lady wasn't defiled, or vice versa. All of that was you talking about you're going to be part of our family. This is where we live. This is where she lives. This is where you coming. You coming to dinner. You sit at the table with the rest of the family. After that, if y'all want to go out to a movie or something, somebody's going with you to the movie. I mean, that's courtship in levels. Then eventually, as you're talking about the marriage is planned. It's the father pays for the young lady stuff. The other father pays for the venue and food and all the rest. It depends on what the agreement is between the families. That way, there's no misconception about who this young lady is. There's questions, there's comments. There's always someone talking about who she is, where she went to school, whatever. There's always someone around to confirm who she is or to make sure that she's not being done wrong. Again, this is from a male's perspective.
A guardian.
Nowadays things have changed. You can meet somebody on the internet and let's meet over here. A smart woman would have her friend with her the first time, right? Somebody that has some sense in her head because you meet somebody you've never met. It should be that way, but 9 times out of 10 it isn't. But meeting in a public place is the same thing. So, and once you get to know the person after 5 or 6 times at the coffee shop, and you feel comfortable with the person, then hey, let's move. Let's do a movie. Then I mean, again, I know things have changed drastically in the world since from what I'm talking about, but that's a traditional way, and that's a good way to get the information you need, and whether you still want to continue to pursue the person or not. But yeah, those are that's what I remember anyway.
And those are classic.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
So
I think you're right, and that's why I say we doing it wrong.
And I agree with you, Rio. I do agree with you, Rio. So unless you have your list, I wrote down the process from what I've observed and based on things in my life. If I may share with y'all. I like what you said, Sigma Uno. I appreciate you. Mind if I share? Is that okay, gentlemen?
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's what I got. And again, all these stages are subjects, time is relative. Okay, within this. It could be like the first 5 days, first 5 minutes, first 5 hours, whatever. Okay. So here's the first one. Attraction. Second, approach. After the approach, the first impression, the first thing that comes out your dumbass mouth. All right. The second one is acceptance. Do I accept what you're saying? Am I going to go on this date? Are we going to do these things? Okay. Upon the time y'all are hanging out, whether it's at the coffee shop, the movie, or stuff like that, the sexual tension. All right. Because we're instinctual. We're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then comes the intimacy or intimacy discipline. All right. Then after that is regards to if y'all fucked on that night or if y'all holding yourselves back or trying to restrain yourselves to make it worth better for that delayed gratification. Then comes the respectful communication throughout that time, before, after, and currently. Then you put all that together, it equates to the comfort. And then after the comfort, depending on how y'all communicate and what y'all decide y'all want to be, then comes the title of the relationship. That's been my experience. That's what I've observed. And it's open to interpretation or anything to add in between there. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
I agree. That's what's happening nowadays.
I agree. That's what's happening nowadays.
What's happening these days?
And usually people fuck that first tension, their first sexual tension. And I feel like that's where we're kind of messing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I feel like we should be. I feel like we should be stronger, and we should be stronger and resist that urge, that first meeting to have sex. Which, hey, I'm guilty of that shit too. Hey, I love it. I'm sorry, but
that's subject for debate. Depending on the comfort level, because I've met women on the first that made me feel so comfortable. They talked about my pants. Okay, for real, they talked about my draw.
But I feel like that's why we mess up sometimes, though. Because sometimes you might like the sex, but you might not really like this woman.
Right.
So you can get stuck still dealing with this woman because you like the way she has sex.
Well, hold on. But that's where the other step comes in, the respectful communication. If we ain't being respectfully communicating with that, then that fucks up the routine.
You may have respectful communication, but that don't control them emotions.
Right. That's the hard part.
That means she doesn't respect my boundaries.
I'm not even saying your boundaries. I'm saying you might be the one that catch feelings because we're not just gonna act like dudes don't catch feelings off of sex alone.
I like that. The person said
We're not gonna act like
sexual and
that.
trauma bonding. That does happen.
We're not gonna act like that.
Sexual and trauma bonding. It does
Yep,
happen. That
it
happens.
happens.
I think that's what you're talking about. If that's what you're talking about, then I
Yeah,
100% agree with that.
it
I
happens.
do.
We're not gonna act like women are the
That
only
happens.
ones that be done got sprung. So, like hell, I'm a victim of it. It has
Oh,
happened to
100%.
me. So
100%. It happens to
I
both.
know it happens.
100%.
Like you be like, and you be mid stroking it, and you be like, man, I know I shouldn't be messing with this girl.
Or
Right.
I add this one in there too. Or when it comes to the respectful communication, us as guys, here's why I've seen it's been toxic. We get into our ego. Now I'm gonna say a term that's gonna trigger every man in here, okay?
All right, I'm ready.
There's been times. Hold on. I'm about to keep it real, okay? There's been times where you have that first intimate interaction and your ego is so fragile that we have to redeem our stroke. now, hold on, don't you laughing? Because y'all know what I'm talking about.
Hey,
when you feel
ain't that
like,
an emotion?
Like, wait a minute. I know I can knock the. I know I can knock the.
Ain't that an emotion?
But
at the end of the day, your ego is an emotion.
It's an emotion, but it's an ego thing. If now again, we all have egos. You know what I'm
I know what you're talking about, though.
Socks off.
I know what you're talking about.
Bad day. I gotta come back.
I know what you're talking about.
Round two.
Yeah, round two or whatever round we need. Because the last
like I was tired that day.
Because liquor talks.
Out like this.
You were saying that early, Divine. Liquor talks and everything. The last thing I need her saying is, I fucked Leon. You know what? That mother.
That part. Yeah.
Or I've seen guys do the total opposite. They'll fuck 5 other bitches or women just to try to get that title. But it's toxic. But
like no lie, it's childish. But that's the thought I have. I had that same thought, like, yo, I gotta come back. No, I gotta come back because you ain't finna go talk about me.
Okay, was she that good?
No, or certain trigger things. I've heard guys say this. Guys have told me this, okay? When they hear certain things, their ego is done. When they doing the damn thing, and out of nowhere, she's like, you know what? Let's
wait a minute.
Let's try something. You know what? Let's just try
this another day.
Again, and I'm joking, but that's how we get in our heads.
Maybe you need
and
to
that's
rest.
where, right. And that's why I agree with you, Rio, is that then we start, that's where we skip that step of respectful communication, because now we're not communicating. Yeah. We're just in our feelings and our ego.
Hey, you ever asked the ex of yours to be honest?
I'll go ahead and reset it back, bring it back onto topics. With that, I do want to talk about sexual and trauma bonds. So with that, when y'all were talking, that was me that typed that down in the chat because I was like, all right, bet. That's what I felt that y'all were describing, and I guess I was actually.
Yes.
Definitely.
In this day and age, a lot of individuals want to test drive the car before they decide if they even want to buy it. A lot of people are basing a relationship, if they want to get in a relationship, based off the sex. I'm like, a lot of people are screwing before they even get to know the person, and then get in a relationship with a person, realize they don't even like being around that person.
Sure.
However, the D or the P was so good, they stick around anyway. What y'all got to say on that one?
That's why you should get to know that person before you even have sex. And honestly, if you do gain a connection with that person before having sex, it does make the sex a lot more better.
I agree.
Yeah.
It does.
Having a connection, I will say this, having a healthy, respectful, as well as accepting connection with somebody does make the intimacy better. And it's a healthy way to grow a relationship. With that being said, I'm not going to be opposed to those that believe in sampling the milk before they have the cow, as long as they're able to communicate that in a respectful way that doesn't send false expectations towards the person they're dealing with, because the last thing you want to do is play with someone else's emotions. that might be connecting with you due to either trauma bonds or intimacy or their inability to differentiate between sex, lust, and connection. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only time I would say, hey, if they're able to communicate and, guide someone through those feelings or whatever like that, then okay, I'm not against it. But other than that.
So with it, we have one person, sex is temporary in lifelong relationships.
Strongly disagree.
That's fact.
Me being
but I'm gonna enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, that part right there, like that's.
I'm gonna enjoy it while I can.
Exactly. It's like I'm like, all right, cool. There's going to reach a point to where it's like, okay, yeah, it might not physically be possible anymore without any external.
Oh, okay, that's what you're talking.
That's why
about.
I gotta like you as a person.
Yeah,
that's why I gotta like you as a person, though.
Like the person.
It's like that is for me that is a form of intimacy, but there are other ways of intimate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, and Divine, that's how I was looking at it too. I was looking at intimacy. That's how I was looking at it.
I'm like, I can
intimacy never stops though.
Yeah, but I mean, there are some people who base intimacy just off of the sex alone. Like that's their idea of intimacy, and I
you cannot have sex and be intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I don't like washing my hair. It takes too long. I got waves. I got to go through a whole process. It takes me like 30, 40 minutes to wash my hair.
Here's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it like, here's how I looked at it when I read it. When someone said sex is temporary, I instantly, being me, thinking sex is a part of intimacy, intimacy is a part of passion, passion is a part of, I go that like, if you're just talking about sex in the form of intercourse, then yeah, intercourse is temporary.
Yeah.
Intercourse has no feeling. Intercourse has no connection. Intercourse can be technically rape. So it's like intercourse, that's a whole different thing to me. When it comes to sex and intimacy, I tie those things as one. Does that make sense?
Right. But see, this is where I go ahead.
You can't.
No, this is where I kind of ride the fence on this, because all of this again is forced upon us stereotypically, right? So the idea that in the circle of your friends or in television that you watch or whatever, or other subliminal messages, the idea about performing is number one, and it's important. There's a lot of stress involved in it. If you take the stress out of it and you pull that stress factor out of your mind and you enjoy the person you're with, it can last a lot longer. If it's a point of stress and you're all that you look, I'll tell you this. I was with a specific person, actually two people, that I felt like intimacy was a job, right?
No.
And if you work a job that you don't like for too long, you ain't gonna want to work the job no more. and in your head, you're like, I don't even want to be here. I don't even want to work this job. I'm just working so I can get paid, and that's it. I need to find something I actually like working in order to love it and enjoy it. That's the way it is with relationships. If you love the person that you're with, if you enjoy their company and you're their best friend, it'll last for a long time. And when it looks like it's getting ready to fade out, everybody has a conversation. Hey, let's talk about this because things are changing. My body's changing. I'm getting older on either side, and maybe she just don't want to be bothered with it no more. But that's a conversation. That's where intimacy kicks in. It's like, okay, we can be together for the rest of our lives, and that's not really the main factor. But in the early years of your life, because in your head you believe that that's the thing that you got to do to prove that you're a man, then damn, you're tying yourself to something that ain't gonna last for a long time. It isn't, and it won't last because you're exhausted about it versus actually your body getting old. When you get exhausted in your mind about anything, it comes to a place to where you have to determine, 100%. Am I going to keep doing this? Am I going to keep working this job, or am I going to go find another one that I actually like? And 9 times out of 10, you go find another job. And if you don't have that good relationship with the person that you're with, you're going to go try to find somebody else because it's based on sex and not intimacy and love and friendship with one another. That's the important thing.
Sigma Uno. the women, when I run into women like that, I consider those women, because I know what you're talking about, toxically insatiable. And what I mean by that is they have needs and desires and wants. They expect you to fulfill them 100% without giving any type of expectation to how they need it to be done.
Right.
All right. I want to flow into the next little topic. Ultimately, I just want to know, like, what would y'all want to say to any women who are listening? Matter of fact, this is the men's one, so we're going to start with the men and the boys first. What would you say to any of the men and boys who are listening when it comes down to this topic of what is wife material?
Whew, man. Are they going to listen? That's the question.
I mean,
that's the question.
There are some
because
willing to listen. What would you say to them?
Man, I'll say this is what I would say to my sons. Slow your roll. It's out there. It's everywhere. What you're looking for is something that you want to settle down with and be with for the rest of your life, not something temporarily. This whole sowing your wild oats thing is one thing, but it also comes with a lot of demons. Sowing your wild oats comes with the spirit of every woman that you just slept with, and then you don't remember to try to shake that energy off. So you're gonna be stuck with the spirit of every woman that you've ever slept with. So slow your roll, pump your brakes, get yourself together, get you a job that's to get you a job, make your money, get you a place, travel the world, do what you have to do. To young ladies as well, don't get tied up in no relationship yet. If you're too young, if you're in your 20s, rip and run in your 20s, make your money, make your investments, and then start looking around and paying attention and be in a place to where you're going to meet someone that's going to compliment you, and vice versa.
You're up, Rio. What would you say to the men and boys listening?
I would say, one, learn the person that you're gonna be with, like real deal. Learn that person. Two, you're not always gonna be right. You just not. So don't think you're gonna always right. You're not always gonna be right.
I like that.
That part right there.
Be comfortable, have talks. Don't be afraid to open up. You know, it's all right to be that, and you can still be macho. It's cool.
Yep.
You know,
I like that.
You just gotta have better discernment, know who to do that with. You can't do that with everybody. That comes with being a man. You can't open up to everybody. You'll figure out who you can open up to and who you can't. But just learn a woman, build. Shit, I feel like y'all should be building together versus y'all building separately, then coming together as one. I don't really see the reason in that. I feel like we better when we come together young.
Yeah.
It's just we don't date people for who they really are. We date them for an image that we want them to be. Don't look at that image, see that person for who they really are.
Conductor.
And use your discernment to tell if that's what you want to deal with. And if that's what you want to deal with, go with your move. Okay. Yeah, just make better judgments. You know, that's all. If we start making better judgments off of people instead of the image that we see of them, instead of seeing them for who they are, I think marriages will go a lot farther and relationships will be a lot better. But the fact that people just see a shiny new toy, it gets exciting. Oh, I want that. When not, you really don't want that. You just like that image.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Nice Guy.
Sure. Okay. I have two. I have one for the men and one for the boys. I'll go with the boys first.
Okay.
I would say be more patient, open, understanding with yourself and others. I think if you have that foundation, everything else will develop in time, as long as you maintain that. When it comes to the men, that I'm mostly talking to the men that I guess have had bad experiences or that continue to perpetuate this narrative that obviously all of us talk about going up against. Try not to project your unresolved trauma on those who are uninitiated and not worthy of that type of abuse.
Noted. I mean, to old me.
That's the advice.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
For me, what I would have to say to the men and the boys listening is you don't need to go for what everybody else is looking for because that may not be what is for you. So oftentimes we seek what how do I say this? We try and get things that look good, make you look good to other people. Worry about what is good for you.
What's right versus what's correct.
Speak, brother.
I've been saying that for years.
You're trying to go for the big booty chick that everybody wants. Go for the one that treats you right. Because I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I was looking at everybody but my wife, but my wife was the only one that was there for me.
Well, yeah, but she was like 7 at the time, so it's understandable why you weren't looking at her, you know. She had to grow up, you know what I'm saying?
Stop. You can get me in trouble.
When I met your wife, I asked her how old is she. She was like this many. I said, "Wait a minute, hold up."
You put me in trouble. Now, with it, let's flow into what we say to the women listening, the women and the girls. Or I should edit that, say women and girls. But for me, what I would want to say to them is know that you have power. Know that everything falls on you, unfortunately, because there's a lot of men who don't know how to balance their emotions, who don't know how to take care of themselves. And it's almost like it's a part of y'all to know these things. Like it's almost like y'all were born, for the most part, knowing how to do these things, how to take care of people, how to take care of men. But know when your cup is empty and when someone is draining you. Learn how to cut them off and learn to love yourself over other people. That's what I would say from things that I have noticed. And I know I'm going to get some pushback up. Here we go. The comments coming through. Oh, that's for you. that one's for you, guy. He got jokes.
Oh, for me? Oh, man.
All right. I'm going to roll this one through. Rio, what would you say to the women and the girls?
Yeah, I'm doing the podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna run to Nice Guy.
No, I'm not ready. I'm still writing.
Oh, all right, Mr. Sigmuno. You ready? We're going. Come on down.
Yeah. To the young ladies and the women, y'all got it. I mean, you're the creator of human life. So just, I would say, be so in tune with yourself, love yourself so much that no one can treat you as well as you treat yourself.
That part.
Do that. Because if you're depending on someone, depending on the person that you choose, I'll just say this: choose wisely and vet until you have not vetted anymore. Do not pause and determine because you like the person, the way they look, or 2 or 3 things that you're going to settle for that person. There is someone out there that is everything that you want. There is. So don't settle. The minute you settle, you're going to be settling in everything in that relationship. And you don't want that. You're going to eventually kick yourself in the backside if you do that. But love yourself. Be proud of your accomplishments. Be proud of who you are. Don't let anyone that you eventually get with speak down on you to the point to where you don't have any love for yourself or you can't find the love for yourself. If you come in strong, stay strong. If you need to stay, if you need help during the time that you're strong, go find your mother, your grandmother, someone, and talk to them about who they raised you to be and who they know you are. Because otherwise, losing your self-esteem during a relationship is almost like someone stepping on you and walking on you. Don't allow that. Same to the women that have been through things and the young ladies as well. The ones that been through something, let yourself heal. Let yourself heal. That just because you were in a bad relationship, it doesn't mean that's the last relationship you ever be in. But you have to be stronger than you were in that relationship, and you have to give yourself some time to build up your strength, build up your resistance, build up your love for yourself again, because that's what kind of takes the back seat after a while. You put so much love in a person that you forget to love yourself. So love you 100%.
Finger snaps. Finger snaps. Finger snaps.
I'll go next because what I'm about to say, Mike, you were talking about you getting some pushback, Lee. I know I'm probably going to push back on this, but before I say it, let me just say, if you were to ask the question, I'd say this to men too. All right.
Okay.
First off, ladies, let me just say, continue to support and be there for one another as well as for your partner. With that being said, ladies, also learn and know how to keep each other accountable and police each other up instead of attempting to trauma bond, which perpetuates certain negativities that do not help, as well as continue to make ripple effects of toxicity in relationships today.
Word. That's what's up.
All right.
Bird's the way.
Oh, all right. I can go now.
Yeah, there you
go. All right. Was that the last of yours, nice guy?
Yeah, that was the last one.
All right. Go ahead, Rio. You got the floor.
All right. Cool. This is what I was like Mr. Sigma Uno say. 1, heal. 2, we are not all the same. Please don't treat the dude like he's your ex.
Exactly.
You know, learn how to be happy with yourself before you get into a relationship with somebody, because it's not on that other person to make you happy. It just ain't. You know, just like it ain't on you to make that person happy. They have to be happy within themselves. No matter what you do, if they're not happy with themselves, they ain't never gonna be happy. That's a red flag. Get out of there.
Facts.
Okay.
That's so true. That is so true. All right, we have reached the part of the podcast where we are going to do our closings of gratitudes and what you learned. All right. I'm just gonna leave it like this, so we ain't got to single nobody out. So, whoever wants to go first, I'm closing it last, so I can do my end as well.
I'm grateful. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I get mine done and over with. I'm grateful to be here with like minds and different minds, so we can have this discussion and just to see where different people have their point of views and how they see things. Like, it's always interesting. I like the topics and it be flowing, so I like it. You know, it's something we need to talk about, and especially in this day and age.
Yes.
I swear he took word for word what I was about to say, so I got to change my shit up. But okay. I am appreciative of the opportunity to share my experience in the hopes that it will teach and help others grow, as well as learning and appreciating what others have to share with me. Damn that, Rio.
Of course, I'm appreciative of the platform. Glad to be on with some very wise and understanding people. This world is getting bigger. Time is moving on. Be good to yourself. Be happy with who you are. If not, then get started. Because stress kills. And when you're not happy with who you are and continue to try to change yourself, stress is the number one killer. So love you, love you, love you.
So with that, I just want to go ahead and say I'm thankful for everybody jumping on today, everybody who was in the comment section, everybody who's been watching. This brings a lot of joy to me to be able to talk about topics like this and to be able to see a community start to form and to know that the vision that I have is starting to it's coming. It's all starting to fall together, and it's all because of y'all. So thank you for everybody who's been liking, subscribing. Thank you for everyone who's been on the podcast, because in all honesty, like I tell you all the time, this would not be possible without y'all. I only have my viewpoints, the things that I've been through, but hearing from other people, it validates a lot of other individuals. We all are learning and growing from one another. And I feel like that's what we need more of in the world. Us to be able to come together, have that community, learn, grow, and teach one another. Because if all we're thinking is what we are thinking is right, we're going to be wrong a lot more times than we want to be. That's because we don't have that guidance. Like with us having Mr. Sigma Uno on here right now, he's been through a lot. He's seen a lot. He knows a lot. It would be who of you to pick his mind. He tells us a lot of things that he has seen, that he has witnessed, that are lessons that we can abide by, and we don't have to go through those same things. Things that Rio has seen and has gone through. He's been in places that we might not have been. So he can tell you from a different demographic of what happens on there. From Mr. Nice Guy, the profession that he has, he's seen a lot of things as well. He's done a lot of things. He understands how the psychology of some things work. We have a lovely bunch of people that stop by and jump in and provide insight on this podcast. And with it, I feel the main purpose of this podcast is to reach the masses and teach, so we can elevate people from where they are. Because every day we're showing gratitude and we are constantly learning. I live my life by 3 daily rules. Every day I strive to bring a smile to somebody's face. Every day I strive to influence someone on a positive level. And every day I strive to learn something new. And with this podcast, I use this more for my mental health, because having conversations like this, it lets me know that I'm on the right path. Not only for helping other people, but also knowing that what I'm doing in my everyday life is right, or either there is still room for growth, because I refuse to be stagnant. And with that, I thank everybody. This was another episode of Divine Time. Relax your mind. It's Divine Time.
Couldn't break a stride, so vibrant, bright as city lights, never high. Knees bruised from the long road she paved, raising kings and queens, every day we praise. Mama